Hi and welcome to this how-to video. The piece of software we'll be covering today is called iStopmotion. This is a program available for Mac computers and its main purpose is to create stop motion animation. Right, when you start up iStopmotion, it should open up a window for you automatically. However, if you need another one, for any reason that you have to close it or anything, right, what you need to do is just come up to File and go to New here, and that will bring up a new window here for you. Okay, so when you open a new window, you'll get some options about how you want your movie to look. Okay, the option that you're probably going to need is DVPAL here, this one. So if you click on that, then it'll set it to these settings here. The one that you might want to change is the frame rate here. Here it's currently set to 12. That's good for starting out when you're starting to make your animations, but when you get a bit more advanced, you might want to move it up to 15 or maybe even 25. That will make your animation smoother, but you have to bear in mind that you'll have to do a lot more little movements to make the same amount of time that you were before. Okay, so now everything's set up, we can get going. Right, I'm using a Handycam connected to my computer here with a Firewire lead to capture my images. But you could use other cameras or even a webcam if you've got one to do this. But what I need to do is I need to come down here and activate my camera in iStopmotion. It's here, it's on this little menu here. If it's set to none, then we need to do is go down and set this to video. Right, so there we go. There's my little example model there on the table. Okay, the first step we need to take is to capture our first frame here of it just standing stationary. So what you need to do to capture a frame is simply to hit the space bar on your keyboard. Okay, so now we have a frame. What we need to do is we need to move our model a bit and start actually animating. So here we go. So I'll just bend it a little bit. Now you can see on the screen what we have is we have the current image and we have an overlay of the old image. If I put my hand over the where the model is, you can actually see where the old image was, and now you can see where I've moved it. Okay, so if I press spacebar again, you can see it's changed image, so we've moved it slightly over. I'll just do that again. And this is essentially what you need to be doing. Lots of little movements so you get nice smooth movement when you come to actually play it back. Oh, I've caught myself in there a bit. That's not what we want. That's easily rectifiable. Right, what you need to do is you need to either press Apple key and backspace on your keyboard, or if you wanted to do it another way, I'll just put it back on here. You can also click on the frame and then press Control and click on it and then delete it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep moving my model frame by frame to make my movie here. I'm just going to do it nice and quickly so I can show you. Captured my hand again, didn't I? Right, okay, let's just delete that one, delete the one after it, because if you don't delete the one after it, then you're going to miss out part of the movement. Right, okay, and then we go a little animation there. If I just press play here, you can play it back and see what I've got so far. And there we go. Right, so it's looking good so far, but I think it might be a bit too quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to duplicate some of my frames here. So if I copy them and then paste them, so now if I go all the way back here, I've got two of the same frame, and I can do that again. Right, there is a keyboard shortcut for this. It's Apple C, and then if you keep holding the Apple button, if you press V, it'll copy it in there for you. So right, okay, so now if we play it from the start, see, everything's a bit longer, it moves a bit slower, and it just speeds it up. Now what you may have noticed there though is that the light changes quite a lot. Now that's because my hand and my body are getting in the way of where the light source is, and that's affecting the image. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that the light stays the same and that you're not in the way when you're doing any of the animation. Right, so let's just keep going, and I'll just finish off my little quick animation movement here, and then we'll move on to something a bit more advanced. Just another thing, if you've been playing around with it, sometimes it will get set to not the last frame. What you need to do is make sure that it's on the very last frame where there's a picture before you do any more animation, because if you don't, then it'll appear in the middle of some of the animation you've done already, and that's not going to be any good. Right, so I'm just going to keep going and finish off my little animation here. Right, and there we go. I'll just play that again for you. Right, as you can see, he kind of just walks over and takes a step. This is quite a simple little movement. It's quite a simple model, but what we'll do now is we'll have a look at something a bit more advanced, and I can show you a few more other little tricks that you can use. We've got a little bit more of an advanced model here, a little guy with some eyes and a couple of arms. So now what we need to do is, it's a good idea if you're going to be doing something a bit more advanced like this, that you have an idea of where you're going to go with it and what you want to do with the models. So let's say we'll have him wave and then maybe kind of wobble off the screen or something. Right, okay, so let's give that a go, shall we? Right. Right, let's have a quick look at that. And there we go, there he's given us a little bit of a wave there. Another thing you can do with a character who has eyes is to make them a bit more lifelike. You can actually make them blink. Right, so if I take a frame now, see, he's got little eyelids already. And then what we need to do is just keep adding more until his eyes are closed. Now you don't want this for too long, so I'd say maybe make it 4 frames at most. Right, there we go, there's the next one. Now let's have his eyes fully closed, shall we? Right, now take them off entirely so he looks like he's blinked really quickly. And here we go. And there we go. There's a little bit of pink left on there, but just because this is an example, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so let's have a look at that, shall we? I'm sure that you guys can do a bit better and take some more time with it. The really important thing you should do is that you should practice. You need to have a go and then have another go, and then every time you do it you'll improve because you'll be learning new things and new techniques that work best for you. The thing is though, with eyes and blinking and eyebrows and eyes following people, it's really good for giving your little animations a bit of character and making them appear a bit more lifelike. Okay, so we've had him blink, so the next step is to make him walk off. Right, just slowly turn him. Okay, so rather than making him walk off, how about we make him run off? Okay, so to make things appear faster, all that you need to do is you need to make the distances between your movements longer. So say starting there, if I move him here and then move him even further, so he's like that, then it'll look like he's speeding up and he's racing off. And then back of his head, and he's off. Right, let's have a look at that. There you go, you can see he kind of flies off at speed there. It's really important that you don't move the camera once you've started animating. If someone knocks it like this, see now if you had a frame up there, now everything would be completely out of kilter, and it's really hard to get everything back into the position that you had it before. The one way around this, if this actually happens, is if you think about it and maybe try to change the shot. So say you're in a long shot like this, you could maybe zoom in and move the camera a little bit and turn it into a close-up, and that would get around the camera moving, and then you just do a bit more animation like that, and then you could go back out and it wouldn't really matter that the camera had moved. But really, if you're doing animation, you really need to be careful to not move the camera. Okay, so I just had to shift over to a different screen here quickly so I could show you this. Right, so we've got our video here. Let's play it again. Right, there we go. Right, now what we want to do is we want to save it. So you go to File, Save, and then you have to choose where. So I'm just going to save it onto the desktop here and call it Example 1. Right, and that'll save your movie. It will save it as a QuickTime movie. Right, now we've got everything saved, what we can do with the file is we can take it into other programs and do other things with it. In particular, the one program that I'd like to tell you about is iMovie. Now this is a basic editing program, and what it lets you do is you can take bits out of your movie or you can add sound. However, all the functions of iMovie are going to be covered in a different video, so if you want to learn about that and add sound and different things to your animation, then I suggest you watch that video as well. For other how-to videos and much more, check out the Family Connections website. On here you'll find a great selection of free resources, which are just under here, and on here we have many free programs you can download and use on your computer at home. We've also got the Ideas Bee. This will suggest fun short ideas that you can try out with your family. Also on here we have Activity Update. That will tell you what's happening in your area. And finally we have Contact Us, where you can contact us directly through the website, or you can call up as well. Right, that website is www.familyconnections.org.uk.